Hey guys, my guest tonight, Carmen Turner Schott, is going to tell us how astrology can help us in our daily lives. We'll be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? I've had a Murphy's Law kind of week, and it's still going. Hang on one second. Let me get in here. Push the correct button. There we go. And my Murphy's Law is still continuing. I'm Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour, one way or another. Either way, I have a great show planned. I haven't heard from our guest, and I think it's because there's 2 email addresses I have for her, and I think I sent the join-in link to the wrong email address. This is how things have been going for me the last couple days. Anything that could go wrong has. As you know, over the weekend, on Sunday, I started, an hour late to do the show because my laptop was acting like a jerk, as far as my camera went. So I've been having all these issues, and it looked like today was going to be smooth sailing, and I just noticed she's not in the green room. And so I got to look into stuff, and I noticed that she's got 2 different email addresses. And I did email to her, but I think I went to her old email address. So she's not seeing the email there. So that means that I probably have to reschedule her if she doesn't come on the next 5-10 minutes. However, tomorrow, let me have some ice water. Lord knows I need it. Tomorrow, I had planned to talk about how to go ghost hunting on a budget, because you don't need all that fancy crap to go out in the field. So maybe we'll, I was thinking about, if she doesn't come on today, we'll do that. Okay, we're going to talk about ghost hunting on a budget if she doesn't come on. Or we can tell ghost stories. We can tell different stuff from investigation. All right, Linda, I see you're out there. But she's got 2 emails, and I think she got married, so she added Schott as her last name, because the last time she was on, a year ago in July, her last name was Turner. So, and it has the same photo on the email, which is why when I clicked on it, I thought, okay, I've got the correct email. But apparently not, because she's not there. So, oh my God, this stuff. Mercury came out of retrograde, and it's still slamming me left and right. And it's hot, so the ice water is really nice to have. Okay, so anyway, let me do my regular intro, and then we'll take it from there. If she doesn't email me or she's not on, I'm just going to go for it. We're going to talk about paranormal investigating on a budget. Okay, we're going to move tomorrow's show up to today, so that'll work. My name is Charlotte. I'm the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team, based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong up and down the state, which means if you have a paranormal need, we can get to you. It may take us a couple days, but we can definitely get to you. And in the case that it takes a couple days, we do have mediums on staff who can phone you and talk to you about what may or may not be going on. And in most cases, if it is something paranormal, they can calm the energy down until we can get out there. But like I said, it never takes us more than 2 or 3 days, unless you hit me up on a Monday and no one's available till the weekend, right? The way to find us? Google us on social media. We're everywhere. In fact, it's going to be a lot easier to find us because the radio website should be back up this weekend. And so I'm going to hook the paranormal site into the radio website for now. So you can not only see what's going on with the show, you'll be able to click on the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team site and go in there and be able to contact us through there. So I'm going to hook all that up together this weekend. But until then, you just look for us on social media. If you're watching from Facebook, and a lot of you are, please feel free to, if you like what you see in here, please feel free to leave us comments over in the chat half of this, and show me some love. Show me some happy faces and stuff. I need them. Cheer me up, guys. It's been a week of hell. Okay, And yeah, and what that does is that puts us up higher in the FYP at Facebook, which means Facebook suggests us to more people to see the show. Same thing with YouTube. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I got more than 1,000 videos sitting over there. I am a journalist, photojournalist. I don't cover paranormal stuff all the time. I like to vary it. So you're going to see a hodgepodge of different topics. So check that out. And if you're watching from over on YouTube today, thank you. I appreciate it. And please, for the same thing, leave me a thumbs up, show me some love, and chat amongst yourselves in the chat room. Because again, that helps us with the FYP over there. They all work the same, right? Twitch and YouTube and all those other networks. Everybody works the same. It's just they're all different networks. The only one that's weird is TikTok, which we're not on right now. I hope to be on TikTok later on in a few months. Because TikTok, in order to like stuff, you have to double tap the screen. So TikTok is a different animal altogether. Okay, that being said, I do have some announcements to make. I do have an online store with some merch that you guys might be interested in. Some of it is California Haunts Radio merch. Some of it is California Haunts Paranormal Investigation merch. And more fun, some of it's Halloween merch. So I'm going to have that up probably 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I'll have it up and I'll have links for you and everything to go check it out. You guys can become part of my Booo Crew and join up and, and get some merch. I mean, you might be into Halloween, and I have some real funny shirts for maybe you're like me. I'm at that age now. I used to deck myself out for a trick or treat, for the trick or treaters that come to my house and all that, and I don't have time to do that anymore between the show and everything else. So I'll decorate my yard, but that's about it. But what I always need is I need something easy to put on. Like normally I'll throw a mask on and put a hood and put a black hood thing on, like the Grim Reaper. Well, with this you can get a T-shirt, right? That has some really cool Halloween stuff on it. So all you have to do is answer the door, and there it is, right? So you'll be able to check all that out. Plus, if you have a dog or a cat, I have really cool bandanas for people with pets. Okay, so I'll get you guys the links to all that and get you over there. Now you see that thing flashing across the bottom down there. That's for the California Haunts Patreon site. We do have a Patreon site. We're trying to kind of veer away from Meetup because the cost of Meetup is going up so high. But we're trying to get people over the Patreon site. California Haunts runs on donations and the kindness of my family. And I want to get this to the point where it can maintain itself to keep the show going. And the only way to do that is to have like the Patreon site where I'm offering a lot of really cool stuff, like people that sign up for the lowest level on the Patreon, which is 18.7 cents a day, right? 18.7 cents. People that sign up for that level get extra shows. There's an extra show that's going to be done over there. We're starting a new show, Ghost Stories in the Dark. That's going to be for Patreon members only at every level. Any events that we put on, like I'm intending to do some once a month now, we're going to be doing ghost tours. We're doing what we do best. We're going to be doing ghost tours. And that means like Sacramento and the Bay Area, we're going to get into a haunted building and we are going to take you through with us and do an investigation with us. Or maybe one of our psychics will do a walking tour with you. It just depends on on what we're going to do. But for like things like that, like the ghost tours, the psychic development classes, any classes that we put on, or any special events, you get a 15% discount if you're a member of the Patreon. So that's pretty good incentive for that. And then I'm doing giveaways. We reach certain milestones. I'm going to be giving away T-shirts and different things like that. I'll have all kinds of stuff to offer, discounted stuff. So it's going to be a cool place to be. But but I do have to support the show, and it hasn't been happening. I've been scraping by and there's been a few people who have been donating, and bless you, Cal Dad, and different people like that, because without you, I couldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. And my family members, my sister, my niece, everybody, have been helping me out, and I want to get to the point where we're independent. We should be getting there, right? We got enough people following us and stuff. So you're going to start seeing some of that stuff, and it's not a case of begging. It's not a case of being greedy. It's a case of surviving and keeping the show on the air. I mean, I've been doing this show for more than 14 years, and in all those 14 years, I never even bothered to ask for donations until I ended up doing this physically, like now on camera. Because for the first, what would it be, 14, for the first 6 years of the show, right? Because I've been doing this. I'm in the 5th year now. So for the first 11 years of the show, I was on Block Talk Radio, and so I never thought of doing any of that until I got over here, and then expenses started to balloon up. I tried to keep them all down. But yeah, go check out the California Haunts Patreon. I think you'll like what you find. In fact, when I do a pre-record with a guest, like people in England and places like that, when I do a pre-record with a guest, you guys get to see that a week to 2 weeks in advance of everybody else on YouTube seeing that show. So, I mean, that's another perk that I have. But there are other perks in there. I've got, Design California patches, California House patches. I'm also going to have some sew-on patches. We're going to have some really cool sew-on patches. Hello, Pamela. How you doing? So that's offered over there as well. Okay. So anyway, welcome everybody. And it doesn't look like, let me check my email really fast. It doesn't look like Carmen is coming in today, and I think it was because of an email. Like I said, an email fell off because I have her original old email address. And that or she's having trouble getting online, but it's strange because she was ready to go and all this was going on. And okay, so I think I was emailing to her old address. So, okay. So what we're going to do is flip the shows then. I was going to talk about ghost hunting on a budget. So let's go ahead and do that. And then tomorrow I'll just sort it out. Maybe I can get a hold of Carmen tonight and we can get her to switch to tomorrow night to do the show. So we'll see. But it's just one of those things, and I think it was an email mishap with this. My fault for not double checking the email addresses. Okay. California Haunts, and I talked to a lot of my members about this. We've never been a wealthy team. We've never been one of those teams that had a bunch of people working so we could buy all this high-end, expensive equipment. We've never been like that. So when we started out, it was old school, really old school. And I'm talking, when I went looking for equipment originally, because of my budget at that time, I couldn't afford these $200-$300 pieces of equipment like they sell now. So I was looking for things on a budget. And what I found in all my searches was really, I'm not saying super duper cheap stuff, because right now I think the prices on some of that stuff is up as well. But I found stuff that served the purpose that I needed to serve as a ghost hunter. Because you don't need, to be perfectly honest, you see these people on TV, you see these people, and you think that ghost hunters need that kind of equipment, that they need all that expensive stuff. And the truth is, they don't need that expensive stuff, okay? The truth is, one good way to ghost hunt is to go in shorts. Believe it or not, to wear shorts and a t-shirt. Why? Because, right, goosebumps, right? Temperature changes. What better way to tell a temperature change than to haven't you walked into a room after you've been in a hot area, walked into a room and you felt it being a lot colder in that room, or cooler, the temperature cooler, right? So that's one of the key ways, is you use your own body to tell these things. Just like when your hair stands on and you get goosebumps, right? You can tell that there's some kind of different electricity in the air, and you get goosebumps. So if you, like, I've read all this stuff going way back in the 1800s. These people that were ghost hunting back then, and they didn't have EMF meters. They didn't have these fancy digital voice recorders or anything like that. They had themselves. Another thing that you do that is old school that I learned out of these books was that what they do is they want to test to see if there's any movement in the room. Like people will say that there's breezes in certain rooms and stuff. And I'm talking windowless rooms, because windows can have, thin cracks, or they can have like in the framing themselves, there could be little gaps in that framing. So I'm talking like if you're in a room like, where can I say? Not even my bathroom. Like a center room that has no windows. We'll just say that. A room that has no windows at all, just doors. What they used to do was they used to take string, and they used to tape the string, or attach the string, because they probably didn't have tape back then. They used to attach the string to the ceiling of the room, and they'd have like multiple threads of string in there. I always had this vision of it being like one of those haunted house things at the California, at the state fair, where you're walking through. You got to walk through the plastic channels and walk your way through. But that's what they used to do, and then they would sit there and monitor if a breeze was blowing through, and theoretically, that would be a ghost going through, because there'd be no other. Because you could go to the door and put a towel underneath the door, right? That way, if there's an opening under the door, there's no air coming through. So that's the way to tell, whether there's movement. So that's what they used to do. What I do, or what I used to do too, is I used to take a helium balloon, and I would put it in a room, and then shut the door off, especially no windows. Shut the door off and seal off the bottom of the door to watch what the helium balloon did. If it moved around, if something was moving that around. So, like I said, you don't have to have these expensive temperature things or anything like that. In fact, a lot of the stuff that ghost hunters use, as far as your EMF meters and your thermometers, it's all basically used in the construction industry. Okay, so your EMF meter is for electrical. It's some of them like the tri-field meters. I have a multi-axis tri-field meter. Mine is used for electrical, microwaves, and radio waves that I can switch it to. But I mean, you're talking about with that one, you're talking about a $150, $200 piece of equipment. What I'm talking about is the cheaper equipment, like the ELF meters, which used to run about $10 to $15, and now now they run around $30, $40, $50, depending on where you buy them, or the little blue cell sensor meters with the red tip on them. I remember when K2 meters first came out, they were really cheap, and then because they were once they hit Ghost Hunters and got on all those shows, all of a sudden you were paying like $50 to $80 for a K2 meter. So that's just the nature of the beast. Once something becomes popular, there's demand, and they're going to charge more for it. So I got to do something real quick here. And so you really, again, just let me do this real quick. I have to do something. I have to answer a text I just got. Okay, there we go. So you really don't need that expensive of equipment. Like I said, the cell sensor meters, you can go. You don't even have to buy them from a shop. Okay, the cell sensor meters, you can buy them from Home Depot. Home Depot has those. Like I said, they're construction. They're used normally in construction by contractors who come in to work on your house. Just like when you go to look at temperature gauges, right? Or thermometers. They have the little blue ones, or white ones, or gray ones, or whatever color they are, which are used by HVAC guys to come in and check your air conditioning systems, right? And it's all fine and dandy, except when you go to price them out, because I mean they're really, really expensive. So what I found in searching around, because I have no life, and so I like to do dives on. I enjoy doing dives on Google. Oh, these are sent. No wonder. Let me see if she's answering me. Oh, there she is. I just panicked. What'd she say? Oh, okay. You know what? Hang on a second. She booked for Wednesday instead of Tuesday. You know what? Hang on. You know what? We can do tomorrow. Hang on. Okay. Do tomorrow. That's fine. That's fine. Will that work? See, she had the wrong day. Will that work? Okay, let me go ahead and double check with her. Oh my God, I was wrong. You know what? I was wrong. That was me. I made the mistake. She booked for tomorrow. I thought it was today. Okay, hang on one second. This is me. This is how crazy things have been. Let me get this done here. Yeah, let me get her. Yeah. All right, let me send an apology. This is all my fault today. I have had a rough week. I haven't been feeling good, and let me do this real quick. She's correct for tomorrow. Tomorrow is correct. Okay? So tomorrow is correct. I'm going to have to set up a new show to send it out to. Tomorrow is correct. My fault. My fault. I'll see you then. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'll have to get her a new link. This is my fault. This is all my fault tonight. So anyway, I'll just flip the shows. That's how my week's been. Don't ever get stressed out. But as I was saying, when you look at this stuff, there's actually, you don't have to buy the ones for air conditioning. I mean, you can get the gun kind, because you can see ghost hunters on TV. They use the gun types of things. I have a couple of those in infrared. It's taken me a long time to get them. But the ones that'll work, and this is something that people don't realize, is you can buy a cooking thermometer. I'm talking a meat thermometer. and they're flat, and they kind of look like the flat blue air conditioner ones, the flat blue and gray air conditioner thermometers, and they have a probe on them that you can flip up, and they work the same. Okay, they work the same as the expensive ones, and the last one I bought was like maybe $8. I get them on eBay, right? And the interesting part is when you compare them with the ones that look just like them, only they're for like air conditioning systems, they're only off with both settings by 2 degrees. So, I mean, it's viable. So you're not spending, because some of those air conditioning ones go for upwards of $100, but you can do it for under $15. Okay, but you go look for like barbecue thermometers, as long as they have a probe, not the round. I'm not talking about the round ones that you stick down inside your turkey, right? I'm talking about the ones that are just flat. I would have had this prepared had I known that the days were messed up. I'm sorry about that. So I don't have any photos to show you or anything to show you. In fact, hang on a second. Don't move. I'll be right there. Hang on. Let me grab my box. Hang on. I wasn't prepared. Let's see if there's one in there. Was not there. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, I may not have one in here. We'll see. So just bear with me. Okay. I may not have one in here, and I might, but I've got other equipment in here to show you guys what I'm talking about when you want to do this inexpensively. Let me open up my little box. There is not one in here. I wish there was. Okay, so just start looking at, go like to eBay and look up cooking thermometers, and it'll take you where you need to be. When I was talking about some inexpensive meters, this one right here, these are running, I think now, anywhere from, they used to run like $15, but they're probably up to around 30 or 40. But I mean, in this economy, that's cheap, right? So you got these cell sensors. That's what I was talking about. You can get these you can get those at Home Depot. You can get them at like any hardware store. We usually have these. These in particular will do electricity. Like if I run it over my laptop, the numbers will go up. You can hear it. Can you hear that? That's registering the EMF on my laptop. That's the electrical on my laptop. So if you can hear that. So it's pretty cheap, okay? K2, like I said, K2s were cheap when they first came out, but they went up. The minute they appeared on Ghost Hunter's show, that was it. Goodbye the K2 meters. Because there was no way to afford them. Especially once they see it's going off right now because it's over my laptop. Especially once because this is the oldest model. Once they put a switch, on and off switch on the K2 meter, it was game over. Game over. All right. So then, again, here's one here that's fairly cheap. You can tell they're taped because some of them have my name on it and some of them have been dropped. So it's just the nature of the beast. You're gonna have people dropping stuff. Hang on a second here. These run about $15. They're not bad. They're not bad to use. But with these, you can see it's got a point on there. It's got an infrared point. So when you're working on a wall, you're going to push that button and run it up and down the wall. Just like that. Okay? So that's a fairly cheap meter. Now, like I said, for the air conditioning ones, and I wish I had one in here. Like, I'm not prepared for this. I was putting stuff together for this today. I'll make it up to you, okay? I'll make it up to you on a non-show day, I promise. On a non-scheduled show day. Maybe next week sometime, or maybe on Sunday before we do the other show. To show you guys. But you look up cooking thermometers. This is all you have to do. Look up cooking thermometers on eBay. And don't get the round, like I said, don't get the ones with the round, what looks like the round clock on top. The round temperature reader on top. Get the one that, they're round, and then the probe is coming down this way, out the middle. You want to get the ones that are flat, and they're either blue or they're gray in color. Okay, because those are the ones that look like air conditioning thermometers. Those are the ones you want. And like I said, you can get them for under 25, $30. Okay, it might even be cheaper. Depends what you get. Maybe a used one, but that's a cheap way to go. Also, something we find when we're out on cases, and you don't have to have expensive things for this either. Some people, they hear scratching in their walls and things like that, and it turns out that they might have mice or rats in their walls because that, a lot of the time that's what happens, or in their. What's the day I'm having? Okay, we're set for tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. That was my mistake for Carmen. Yes, Carmen's set for tomorrow, so we're flipping the shows today. So for you guys just coming in, I'm ill prepared to do a show on paranormal on the cheap, but I'll do my best with what I have here to pull out equipment. Um, so as I was saying, is that a lot of people don't want to think that they have rodents in their homes. It's hard for people to say that. Just like you get a lot of orbs in people's houses, and they don't want to admit that they have dust in their houses. Okay, they don't want to admit that their houses are dusty. And so one of the things I like to do when the cameras are set up is I will walk into somebody's bedroom, and then I will shuffle my feet along the carpet, and they can see all these flurry of orbs go up. So then they're convinced, oh my gosh, yes, I need to vacuum more, or I've got dust. So that's something, so it goes that way with rodents, where people don't want to admit that possibly there's rodents in their walls or in their garages or even in their attics. The way you can tell if there's a rodent in a house, and not only is there scratching, sometimes if you leave a recorder running overnight, or even the cameras can pick it up, you can hear them walking around. In one house, I was able to even hear them. Excuse me a second. In one house, I was even able to hear them um, jumping off the top, because what they'll do is they'll get on top of stuff, and they will jump off. Rats have like 800 lives, so they will jump off of surfaces. So in this one woman's bedroom, I was able to hear them actually walking in and doing their little squeaky thing, and then they would jump off, and you could hear them when they hit the floor, or they hit the carpet. Okay, but again, nobody wants to admit that they have rodents. How do you tell if somebody has rodents in their house? Well, rodents, as they move, they're filthy. Okay, usually they're greasy because they've been through the pipes. It's just nasty. One thing they'll do is leave a grease stain on the wall, but a lot of people will clean that up. So I don't know what they think, because they see these grease stains on the walls, and they clean them up, and I guess they don't even give it a second thought. Some people, but they will leave a grease stain on the wall. The other thing they do is, as they're moving, they don't control their not their bowels, but they don't control their urine, and so they will leave a trail of urine as they go. Now, how do you see the urine? Well, the urine is fluorescent. Okay, so you can buy. Now, I don't know if the battery in here is working. Let's see if it's. Let me turn it on. Where's the switch? It's been a while, guys. It's been a while. Uh, we haven't run into any rodent situations in a while, so anyway, you can buy. There it is, and it's not on. Oh, there it goes. Up, up, up. You can buy a handheld. Again, go to eBay, and these are fairly inexpensive. You can buy a handheld fluorescent light to check it out. All right, because it's ghost hunters, and what people don't realize, and I know you guys see stuff on TV all the time, but when we get on cases and stuff, it's our job to really find out. We're kind of like contractors. It's our job to find out what and where stuff is happening. So we will go up ladders into attics. We will crawl through crawl spaces underneath houses. We'll go through underneath furniture and everything, because we want to find out what's going on. Because if we don't go through and do a thorough job at your house to see what's going on, you might as well not have us out there at all. All right? So we have to have full permission to do this stuff. So you will see us, especially my team, we have several of these things. You'll see us going under furniture, going along floors, turn the lights off, going along floors, going along walls, and looking to see if there's any trails. Because you will see urine trails. They show up green underneath the fluorescent light. Okay? Kind of light green colors. But yeah, you will see a urine trail. So this is the best way to do it. to have these portable lights. And like I said, go on eBay. They're not very expensive to get, and they're battery powered. So I mean, very inexpensive piece. Okay, yeah, like I said, you don't need that super expensive stuff that you see. I know it's wonderful to have. I mean, even I admit we have stuff. We have two X cams. You know, the ones that see the stick people. We have two of those. So, and we also have two DVR systems, three DVR systems. Two of them were mine, and then one was donated or left to me when my associate died in Oregon. So we have her DVR system. So we have a 12 camera, a 13, 14 camera system that we can use when we're out in the field now, which is really cool and really nice to be able to do. And then, you know, like cables, even video audio cables, you know, those can get expensive if you don't know what you're looking for. That's why eBay is your best friend. Okay, get on eBay, look for audio video cables. I have cables that run 150 feet to 200 feet, so I can run anywhere I want. You know, I have a 9-channel system for my main DVR system, which of course I got at a discount. As I told you, this team does not have a lot of funding to do this stuff, which is why I joined the Patreon, right? So I'm able to run 9 cameras. So in order to run multiple floors, which will be easier now because now I have a second DVR with 6 cameras, I have to have long cables. So I have cables that are 150, 200 feet out. Okay, and I was buying those. Those are fairly cheap. I was getting those for under $30. Right, so I was able to outfit everything. Just like the DVR cameras, you can search for those, right? And you got to be careful searching for those because sometimes a lot of those DVR cameras that you buy will only go 50 feet in the dark. And that, you know, if you're doing larger places, you know, if you're doing hotels, you're doing ballrooms, you're doing stuff like that, you want something that's going to go at least 100 feet. And we do have 100. We have some that go 100 feet in the dark and some that go 200 feet in the dark. And with that, and how you tell that, and for people that aren't aware of how those things work and how to tell, you know, how many feet those things are shooting. If you look at the front of a DVR camera, they have little dots in there, and those are the infrared. Those are that's what throws the infrared light. The more of those little dots, the better off you are. Okay, so sometimes some of those may have 10, some may have 40 on there. So the more you get on there, the further the camera's going to shoot. All right, but again, there are ways to get cheap, not cheap, but discounted cameras too. You have to look again. Go eBay. I outfitted my whole team on eBay. I don't think I've ever gone to a retail spot or website to buy equipment. Never. Okay, I outfitted my whole team with utilizing eBay because then you can find the best deals over there. Now, like I said, I outfitted my team a long time ago. So prices are changed, the economy is different. But you can still do this on the cheap. All right, you can still do this on the cheap if you want. You don't, like I said, you don't need all that fancy stuff. You know, we've done investigations where people were disappointed because they expected us to have all that fancy equipment that they have on TV, and we don't have that. We just don't. And it doesn't, you know, and then they're disappointed in what we're doing. And there's no reason to be disappointed because what we are doing is just as good as what's going on TV, except we use our bodies in our own senses more. Okay, digital voice recorders. You know, I've seen a lot on TV. Some of the latest, greatest. I see them on Facebook all the time with groups using these real expensive digital voice recorders. You don't have to. Just make sure you get a digital voice recorder that you can plug into your computer via USB so you can get the stuff off of it. That's all that matters. Okay? I mean, it's nice to have a real high-end one, but you don't really need it. And what I found, and this is something that happens during investigations, is that if I walk in with my Sony, because I have 7 Sonys, which are outdated, they're very old. In fact, they don't even work with this laptop. They have to work with my HP Mini, which has Windows XP on it, right? It won't work with Windows 11. Okay? So what I have to do is I tape them to the walls of the room, and that way, after you know, doing stuff and investigating, maybe the ghost will hang out in there or whatever, and I have a camera in front of them to watch to see if anybody's tampering. But they download to my laptop, and I'm able to go through, and those are the best recorders. But the point of this is that I have investigators that if I have a recorder in there, they won't bring the recorder in. Well, you have to. All right. Even if somebody has a recorder in their hand, bring another one in. Why? Because the recorders don't all pick up the same frequencies. They're going to get different frequencies. Just like my iPhone has gotten some really good EVPs because it's on different frequencies than all the rest of the recorders. Okay, so you want to have other people's recorders in there when you're doing your EVP sessions. But like I said, as long as they plug into your computer in some way, whether it's with a USB cable or whether it's one of those that you flip open and the USB thing pops out. You know, the male goes into the female and all that, into your laptop, into your USB, you're good to go. So you don't have to have a high-end recorder to do this. So I mean, a lot of people will spend $100, $200 on the digital voice recorders. Again, eBay's your best friend. All right, go to eBay, look up and see what they have, and go from there. All right, you don't have to spend a fortune to have a digital voice recorder. And don't ever think you do. No matter what you see on TV, just kind of go, wow. It's kind of like looking through the Sears. If you guys grew up when I grew up, and they had the Sears catalog, and my dad would always say, okay, take a marker and show me what toys you want. So I would go through, and your eyes would bulge because you're looking through the Sears catalog. It's like, wow, look at that toy. Mark that sucker. That's about what TV is with paranormal equipment. All right, you mark it, make that big circle. All right, so that's dream equipment. When you get to the point that you can get some of that equipment, it makes it even sweeter when you do obtain that equipment, right? But in the meantime, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that ghost time. Here's something else I found. I don't know if this is working because it's been... This right here. Is that it? Where'd it go? Where is he? Oh, is he broke? Oh, no, there he is. This guy right here. You can find these. You have to Google for them. This is called Firefly in a Jar. Okay? If you've seen some ghost hunting shows, let's see if I can get him on. I don't even know if he's on. Let's see if the batteries are working. Doesn't. Let's see. Are you with me? No, he's not. I think he's seen better. Anyway. Well, don't think he's working. Let me put the top back on. On. Okay, let's see. See if I can complete the circuit. Okay, anyway. This runs on AAA batteries. And there's a wire that comes down in here. And there's a little bug. Where is he? He's here somewhere. I know he's here. He's hiding from me. Where's my bug? Did he break? No, he's right there. You can see him right here. If I get close enough to the camera. There's a little bug in there. And what these do, and it's clever. And if you've seen, in fact, I saw this on Ghost Adventures one time where they actually built one of these things. And what this is, I wish the batteries were working. There's an electrical pulse that goes through the top of the jar, right? And there's a wire that goes down. The firefly is attached to it, and the firefly will light up. But what you have to do is you have to tap the top of this thing, okay, to get it started. And that's the idea, is to tap it to get it to jump, right? So once you get it set up, and it stops jumping, I think this one might have broken. I'm worried about it now. Looks like he broke. Looks like my firefly in a jar finally committed suicide. I have like 3 of these. Poor little bugger. Anyway, sorry. This is gonna bug me because I think he's broken. Sucks. But anyway, you can find these, and they run about $15. But it's interesting because you can communicate with ghosts with these things. They're kind of like, when you guys have seen those REM pods. They start having a conversation, and the little lights on the REM pods light up and stuff. This works pretty much the same way, except the ghost physically has to touch this. And what's cool is because you can do yes and no answers with this, and this firefly will jump around and answer. So you ask a yes question and say, okay, yes or no. What? Do you realize that you're scaring the people in this house? All of a sudden, this starts to react. And you have a yes answer with it. It's really fun to use. I have even had ghosts comment on this during investigations. I have EVPs where the ghost is physically commenting on this. I don't know why he's right there, but I think he's stuck. I think he melted on there or something. I don't know what the trick is. I'll have to get another one. But I do have extras, like I said. But yeah, so it takes 3 AAA batteries for this thing. But it's really cool. When you see that firefly react, it's really cool. And like I said, I have had ghosts that have commented on this when it's on. And they'll mention the bug in the jar. They have ones also called butterfly in a jar, but see, you want it to light up because, of course, it's nighttime. I do believe that my firefly is dead. Oh well, that's going to bug me. I get like onto things like that bugs me. So, that's unfortunate if he is. Oh no, he's moving, so I think he's still on the jar. So he's still up there, so he just moved down. Yeah, he's moving. So he is, yeah, he's still on the wire. I can see the wire. So the wire attaches to its butt like a bee. And so it will jump around and move around. Like I said, what I'll do is, because I wasn't prepared to do a show, to do this today. So I'd rather do this on a full show to show you guys. So maybe at some point the rest of this week we'll do this. Because then I'll have everything I need. So didn't expect to do this. But that is really cool. You can get those fairly cheap on eBay. They're hard to find. But you can find them on eBay. And that is inexpensive. Like I said, so far, with the equipment that I've shown you. Excuse me. Whoa, wait, let's just drop it. You big dummy. With the equipment that I've shown you so far, you're probably looking at under $200 for equipment, if that. So you can do this. That is like I said, those REM pods. That is a REM pod. The Firefly in a jar is a REM pod. Okay, you just don't have the extra lights on there to go yes and no. But that is, excuse me, whew, it's hot here too. But that is a REM pod, and the ghosts love it. In fact, Karen Clark, one of our psychics, we were in a cave in what town were we in? Downeyville, and we were in this cave doing an impromptu investigation. We were filming, and I had the Firefly in a jar in there, and she'd never seen one before. And it was really funny because we caught her, as we were talking about, doing our EVP sessions, during our EVP sessions and filming, she made the comment that we better put holes in the jar because the Firefly was going to die. She didn't realize that it was a machine. And that's what's funny. That's how realistic it looks when it does flash. So, that's something that's fairly inexpensive. Like I said, you don't have to have all this horrendously expensive equipment because that's, like I said, I've never seen so many disappointed faces until we get out in the field and people go, is that it? That's all you got? Right? But when Monica Funk, who was my right hand, started her group up in Oregon, she had the funds to get the good stuff. So we do have other stuff. We do have those extra X cams, and we have we have the boxes that and all that, to use, the real expensive ones. So we did get that from her, and we're still learning how to use a lot of that stuff because we never used it before, But I used to use what they call shack hacks, and you can still find those. If you guys ever heard of shack hacks, how everybody's running out trying to buy, those real expensive boxes that you can do that do the frequencies and all that stuff, all the frequency changes. You don't need that crap. The idea is with the shack hack, and there's people that still know how to make them. The shack hack is a cheap Radio Shack radio. And then what you do is you go modify it so that you can do so that it'll do the frequency changes. And of course it'll stop whenever it hits a frequency. Those were terrific. Absolutely terrific. People use them for years. But you can get that thing modified for under $20. And the radio probably cost, again, eBay. The radio you probably find some on eBay yet. The radio itself would probably cost maybe $5, and you could get that thing modified without having to spend the money on one of those boxes, right? And I know there's laptop apps. I have one from years ago that I still use. There's 2 of them that I use, laptop apps, and at that time they were like $15 for the app itself, and I still use those apps on my laptop. Not my laptop, but my tablets. So you can go ghost hunting on the cheap. And you can do a good job for your clients. Just like I said, you get DVRs. I mean, that's your big cost there is a DVR, a decent DVR. Because I think what I paid total for my 9-channel DVR was like $300. And that was god awful a long time ago. But that had 9 channels on it with 4 channels of audio. So, I mean, but then, the cameras didn't shoot out as far as they should. Even though I used those cameras that came with it, I ended up buying extra cameras. Not all my cameras are going to shoot 150 to 200 feet in the dark. I don't have that. Because sometimes it's not necessary. Sometimes you're in somebody's bedroom. You don't need to shoot 200 feet with that. So you can use this. You can use the smaller range cameras. But in those situations where you're shooting down a hallway, or you're shooting into, like, say, the Murphy's Hotel at the Mark Twain Ballroom, and you're shooting into a big ballroom, you might use 2. Of the 150 foot range cameras in there to make sure that you have coverage in there, right? But again, you get on eBay and you can shop for these things. You can find reasonable prices on them. Okay, so you don't have to. Now, if you're a family that's just going out for fun, like I said, wear a T-shirt, wear some shorts, get a digital voice recorder, and have an EMF meter. That's all you need. You don't need all that other fancy stuff. 2 pieces of equipment, and then use your body. Because when you read back, like in fact, we're going to be doing some of that stuff with Project Gutenberg. How we're reading those Project Gutenberg books that are free. Well, a lot of that is with that First Paranormal Society, and they talk about in their books how they did these investigations, what they used. That's where I'm learning a lot of this from. Another person I learned stuff from, and I love to watch, Haunted Collector, John Zaffis. He does stuff old school. Temperature drops, right? One thing I learned that was really fun with him was temperature drops. Put water, like he was in this saloon, right? So he took glasses of water, and put it on the bar, and put them on the bar, took temperature readings, and then left. Right? He comes back later in the night, the water's colder. Or the water's cold, I mean really cold. I'm not saying colder, I mean really cold. Like, we're talking like a 30-degree temperature drop. That kind of thing. That's significant. And what did he have? All he did was put water in glasses on a bar. Of course, he had a camera on there, to make sure that it wasn't interfered with by anybody. But water on glasses in a bar, and he was able to determine that the possibility that a ghost had come in there and touched the water glasses or touched the bar or whatever. But it was really simple. He didn't have to put out a bunch of money on some paranormal toy. You can do that stuff. Okay? And like I said earlier, my team has always been a poor team. Always. And so we've always made do with different types of equipment. And that's what we still do. And I'm so excited to get my team trained on the new equipment that I inherited from Monica, because I'm really looking forward to using it. I have used an XCam. I had another XCam that I thought was great. That's one of the best tools, the paranormal, that I think there is, especially when you work with a psychic along with it to prove what's going on. Psychic can stand there and ask those questions to whatever that stick being is, and they will answer. Put your hand up. Put your hand on your head. Wave. And you can actually see it happen in real time. Okay? Another thing, FLIR imaging cameras, expensive. Very expensive. You can get units for your phone for like under $300. Even that's expensive. Right? So we very seldom use the FLIR. In fact, our FLIR that we have is broken at the moment. I'm going to try and get somebody my tech guy to fix it on the team. But, I mean, there's stuff you see that you really, it's okay to have. But, you really don't desperately need this stuff. And I know a lot of people will think I'm nuts when I say it. But you don't need that kind of expensive stuff to investigate. You can do it all. You can do it, like I said, all by feeling those goosebumps and everything else, and keep the cost down on this stuff. I can't wait to really, literally be able to put the equipment together to show you guys, so you can see all this equipment, just like those temperature meters and what they actually look like. All right. So that's my plan. So we'll get together again doing this live, and I will show you that stuff. I'll make sure this stuff has batteries and it's operating, so I can show you how the bug jar works. Okay. Then there's other techniques you can use. Cheap, really inexpensive. There's a thing we do with ITC with water. You get a black pan. You fill it up with water. You put it bright. You shine a bright light on it. You get a camera. You shoot flash. The psychic or the medium on your team puts her finger in there and starts stirring the water up. And you ask questions, just like during an EVP session. And what happens? And you guys should look this up. ITC water technique. It's all over the internet. And what happens? Faces show up. Faces and objects. Okay, and we found in a lot of our investigations that we've used this technique in, we can match the faces up with old photographs of people that had lived at the homes. It's incredible. And there's people out there that get such clear ones. Like somebody was doing that stuff at an aviation museum, and they actually got like an aviator from like the 1930s, because you see the face, and you see the kind of leather helmet they had on with the big goggles. ITC water is terrific. There's some people that do ITC smoke, where they'll put a small fire, which I don't think you want to do at somebody's house, but they'll put a small fire just to create the smoke, and then they'll take photos and ask questions at the same time to see if a face will appear in the smoke. I've seen that done. But the water technique is really simple, and it has a lot of results that come out that are very good, that you can double check the results. You even get writing sometimes. Sometimes you get writing, and you can see the letters as they come up. We did one a few years ago with the newspaper article. It was at the Center Creek newspaper. We did one where a dog showed up. Looked like a little terrier dog. Psychic comes in. Turns out that at one time the people owned a little Scotty dog. And so they were really excited because we were able to show them this ITC of the Scotty dog. Is it their dog? But it sure showed up. It showed itself. So you can score pretty good. We did this house in Placerville, and sure enough, we got this man's photo. This man's face came up, and you can clearly see his eyes, everything, his hair. He had one of those big old mustaches on like they had back in Gold Rush times. Did a compare contrast with a photo from the History Museum. Boom, we were able to track him down. He lived on that property at one time. There's a bed and breakfast in Placerville that we did. And a very famous family lived there, the Judith Baker family. He was one of the sons lived there at this house. Not the main Studebaker people. However, what are they famous for? Yes, cars. But they're also famous for making wheelbarrows. So this guy was living there with his family, and he had mostly female children. And so we were getting ITCs of women that were popping up on the ITC. And we were able to confirm some of the faces. Just with doing that water technique. How much did that cost us? Nothing, because I had a black pan in my house that I took with me. That's what I mean. You can do this stuff on the cheap, and you can have really good results doing it. Next time I go to Murphy's Hotel, I want to do some ITC work with that, because I'm curious. We've been going there a long time, and I'm curious to see what pops up, or who pops up on there. So that'll be our next trip. And that trip, probably, I'm going to take 5 guests. That's going to be a paid event for someone that wants to come along with us and ghost hunt with us. So that'll be kind of fun to do, right? But like I said, this is inexpensive stuff that can be done, that won't bankrupt you, and you can be a ghost hunter if you're really into it. Or if you have a family and you just want to go to a haunted location, and maybe you're staying overnight, you can even stay overnight. That would be the cost. You'd have to pay for the room. But like the Murphy's Hotel has their historic section, you can rent a historic room with your family or friends, or maybe split the cost or whatever. Stay in the historic room, because there's the paranormal activity is all over that hotel. You don't have to be like in certain rooms. I mean, there's certain rooms that seem to be hotter than others, but honestly, almost every room in that historic section of the Murphy's Hotel has something going on. And if it doesn't, and you start doing stuff with ITC and whatnot, you will attract stuff to come in, right? So, I mean, you could take basic equipment, like I said, you know, maybe a bug jar or one of those cheaper EMF meters, you know, a cheaper video or a cheaper voice recorder, and go in there and do your sessions, and even do even do ITC, and get results, and you can stay overnight, right? I mean, yeah, you come back, you go home, and you can show everybody what you got. You know, you don't have to do a full-on investigation to get results in these places. And again, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg of your income to get results in these places. You can do it on the cheap. And then later on, you know, maybe like what happened with us later on is we started getting donations in, you know, to support this. We were able to get, you know, some of this equipment we wanted, like again, like the buck jar, or maybe a new video camera or two, right, to do this. So I mean, you know, later on you might really get into it and put your own team together and whatever else, and end up with DVR cameras and all this other stuff. But in the beginning, you don't need all that. You just don't. Let me see what's going on here over the chat right now. Okay. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to go out and spend a ton of money on paranormal equipment to investigate the paranormal, right? You know, have you ever walked into some place and just felt like you were being watched? Right? I mean, that's part. Like I said, that's part of it too. You use your body and your senses. Sit in a dark room. You know, if you think you're in a paranormal place, just as long as it's not something mean, right? Something angry. But you know, shut the door, sit in a dark room, and close your eyes like you're meditating, and see what happens. You might feel a touch. You might feel a presence come in the room. There's stuff like that you can do. So I mean that like I said, I wish that I had realized that I booked the room, that I flipped the days. It's been really hectic here. Been going through a lot. Because I would have, like I said, I would have had everything to show you, like the equipment, like that thermometer to share with you guys and get prices for you guys off eBay, all this stuff. But I didn't have time to do that. But at least I was able to flip the show, and I'm glad I got an answer from her because, wow, I've been under a lot of stress lately doing stuff. But you can do this inexpensively. So don't feel bad if you don't have the money to buy a bunch of equipment. If you're a new team starting out, don't feel bad if you don't have the money to spend on all that fancy schmancy stuff, the equipment they have on TV. You don't need that. Don't worry about it. Even though your clients will look at you and go, that's all you got, but you don't need that stuff. The guys in the 1800s and early 1900s did fine without all that. And they have some of the best recorded, reports and studies of paranormal activity that you'll ever find. Go to Project Gutenberg. Google it. Hans Holzer. He didn't have all that fancy stuff, right? Google Hans Holzer. You don't need that stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry about tonight. It happens, right? It happens. It's just been that kind of, so far it's been that kind of week. It's been that kind of 2 weeks. I'm hoping it all settles down, we had excellent internet service tonight. I hope it keeps up. The numbers were really high for our internet. I'm really excited about that. So I will, for tomorrow night's show with Carmen, come back here 6:30 tomorrow Pacific, and we will definitely have the show tomorrow night with Carmen. Okay? Like I said, I apologize. So I'm going to go ahead and change the titles and everything on here on YouTube, so I'm not misinforming anybody or anything like that. Okay? But for you guys on Meetup, I'll go ahead and rerun Carmen's information for her show, and I'll just take this show off, and that'll be the end of that. And then I'll reboot Carmen's show in there, so you guys have the information and link for that show. Okay. All right. 7:34 p.m. Pacific. I've chit-chatted enough, and I know I've wasted like 10 minutes. If you guys have any questions, come into the chat room, ask me some questions now about equipment, and we'll talk about it for the next few minutes. and then I'm out of here. I'm out of here to prep for tomorrow because I really feel bad about tonight. I really feel bad. So, and I don't want to feel bad. The other thing I found out the other day, I have some friends that are just getting their agencies on TikTok and stuff. And I wonder if it works this way for Facebook. Because, I love to have these cups, like my Grogu cup and my Darth Vader cup and things like that. And according to what he's telling me according to what I found out, he says that TikTok holds that stuff against you because they're suspicious about what you're drinking. They don't know if you're drinking alcohol or whatever when you're on the air, and they don't like it. So they prefer that you drink out of this, so TikTok, the powers that be, can see what you're drinking. So I just wonder if that goes for Facebook and that goes for YouTube. So I decided to go back to just drinking out of bottles because that was something that he mentioned that his agency emphasized that he had to watch out for, is to not drink out of a fancy cup. Because, see, I like to do... Hang on. Where am I at? Look at that. There we go. I have a thing about custom mugs, right? You guys know I'm a big Star Wars person. And so I was at the dollar store and found this. How does that grab you? It's a coffee mug. Or whatever mug. But, see, on TikTok now, this would be a no-no because it's not clear. But it's kind of cool, isn't it? Okay? I have a Grogu one, and I have some other stuff, but you know, so that's why I've started to drink out of my clear bottles again, because I don't want to get any hassles with anybody, whoever, the powers that be, the internet police. The book, we finished Bram Stoker's Dracula yesterday. Great book. I encourage you guys to read it. Go to Project, and I'm going to give you another hint. On the cheap, right? My middle name is Cheap. Go to Project Gutenberg. Just type it in to your laptop or your phone, and you will see thousands of books there. The books date anywhere from the early 1800s all the way up to 1944. They're out of copyright. That's what makes it sweet. That's why I'm able to read them online without getting sued. Okay? You too can read these books. You don't have to sign up or pay anything to become a member of Project Gutenberg. So you can Google a book or topic. Maybe a topic be better. And you might get like 100 titles that come up. And these are books that they have gone through and people have painstakingly converted them into ebook format. And you can read them for free. Like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Okay? We're going to be starting Frankenstein on Sunday by Mary Shelley. That'll be our new book to start. Again, Project Gutenberg. So check that out, And like I said, there's all kinds of paranormal topics over there, and there's paranormal topics from the guys that actually started investigating the paranormal before anybody else did. So you can read those books and get to know those guys. I think Hans Holster's over there even. I think. I don't know. Don't hold me to it. That might be too new. But you will find stuff like that. In fact, some of the first books I read from Project Gutenberg were books that were written by these pioneers in the paranormal field. It was really cool to read it. To read those. So check it out. If you haven't done so already, Project Gutenberg and Googling books. If you notice that during Dracula when I was reading, sometimes the chapters and the way the diaries were written were completely different from what had been done in the beginning of the book. So the character that I was reading in those diaries didn't sound the same. It was choppy. It was weird. And that's because I'm thinking that different people contributed to the translations and stuff on these books. So I was like last night, towards the end, with Mr. Jonathan Harper. It didn't clarify that there were two people attacking. The two people had been attacked, and one was bleeding. It didn't say that there were two people. It said it was Jonathan Harker. In fact, you can hear me stop and go, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" And then I went on. And then it clarifies that there was somebody else besides Jonathan Harker that got hurt and helped kill Dracula. It's things like that are in there. Or Professor Van Helsing talks a certain way, very educated, and then in other parts of the book, it's different. He talks differently in there. And that's because of whoever was transcribing it and doing that. So that was stuff I was looking out for. But it's neat. Like I said, it's neat because all these books are free, and free to use and all that stuff. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up tonight. I wish had I been prepared better, you would have seen a lot more equipment. You would have seen a lot more equipment working battery wise. So I apologize for that. All over myself for you guys. Tomorrow night, we're definitely going to have Carmen Turner Schott on to talk about how the moon nodes on the moon can affect our lives on a daily basis. All astrology, all astrology. So if you're into astrology, it's going to be a great show tomorrow night. Okay? So I will see you guys tomorrow. And do me a favor and keep an eye out. I know some of you are up at 2 a.m., some of you aren't. But do me a favor and check out the California Haunts Patreon. That address is patreon.com/California Haunts Radio. Check that out. Join the Patreon. We're trying, like I said, we're trying to get support to keep this thing going and keep it on the air. I really appreciate it. There's a new show debuting in a couple of weeks for California Haunts, and it's going to be called Ghost Stories in the Dark. It's kind of like a campfire story thing. And I'm going to try and focus on first responders for the show as much as I can. So it's going to be interesting, for you guys to hear these ghost stories. So I'm working on the art right now for that, as far as, the thumbnails and all that. So tonight I'm working on that. So there's a lot going on. I'm resurrecting the newsletter that we had, and the newsletter will include accessible haunted places all around the United States and around the world that you guys can go to. Easily go to without having to get all the permissions and all that stuff. This will be stuff where you can take your family. Might be a hotel, might be could be anything, opera house, whatever. So that there's going to be equipment reviews on there. So you guys will be able to see that. You'll even be able to write in to ask the psychic a question, and if your question's chosen, the psychic will answer it within the newsletter. So that's going to be a monthly newsletter that we're putting out. Like I said, equipment reviews. We're going to have stories about haunted locations, and some of these revisited so we know what's going on there. Other ones we haven't. I'm going to be backing those up on TikTok. I'm going to be doing ghost stories about the different haunted places on TikTok. That's coming. I know you guys like my review on haunted footage, so I'm going to be doing those again. Got Ghost, right? Remember? I don't think so, and yes, I think so. So I'm going to be doing those, get those going again on TikTok. So there's a lot coming out. I'm also working on a couple of ebooks for you guys and to check out as well. So there's a lot going on, a lot coming up. I've got a checklist of what I need to be doing. So keep track of what I'm doing. So it's all coming together slowly but surely. But I need your help again. I need your guys' help. I need to keep this thing going. And it's just one of those things. I need to keep this thing going. If you guys like the show and everything, help me keep it going. Help me keep it going. All right, I will see you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, and this time for sure with Carmen Turner Schott. If anything else can go wrong, I'll just throw a rock at the computer and that'll be the end of that. No, I'm kidding. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you all hanging with me today, and hopefully you got something out of it. And I promise that another night that I have available, I will get all my equipment ready so I can actually physically show you guys, what equipment's cheap enough to buy and what equipment's cheap enough to start with, okay? I just wasn't prepared for that tonight because I didn't know that, I didn't know the dates were messed up, so I apologize. All right, everyone, have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.